This is part two, you guys, where we're going to go into her long distance boyfriend. She's no longer corresponding with with him. So, according to People, Susan Smith, we know she's the notorious killer of her two children. And she's eligible for parole in late 2024, you guys. In a little over a year, this woman could be out after taking the lives of her children. Yes, it was a long time ago, over 25 years now. And like I said, I don't know her relationship with God. We do know he forgives us for some horrendous things, you guys. We don't know her relationship with God. But as a human being, I don't think she should get out, because, at least not now, because she's still thinking about her future and being happy and married. Well, you took that from your children. So let's get into this. Last year, Smith, 51, began corresponding with a divorced man in his 40s. People reviewed two of the letters in which she wrote, "We're going to have amazing chemistry in person. I can't wait to build a life with you. Leave the past mistakes behind and start fresh. Just you and me." But that meeting will likely never come. Yeah, that fizzled out, a Smith family member told People. They are no longer corresponding. It's over. Smith is one of the most notorious prisoners in South Carolina history. On October 25th, 1994, Smith, then 23, told police that she had been carjacked by a black man who had taken off with her two young sons still in the car. For 9 days, she made tearful pleas on national television for their safe return. That was just a recap from the story before. And, they talk about how she drowned her kids in that car, strapped in car seats. What a brutal, horrible, evil witch. And she did it for a man, you guys. Remember from the previous video, she did it because she was secretly seeing a man. And from many reports, because I've gone over so many reports on this story, the man had money. And she wanted to be with this well-off man. He didn't want children, so she took the lives of her poor, innocent little babies, you guys. And then they go on to talk about her drug use, her self-mutilation, and her sex with two different guards. And she said that one of the guards, it was Houston Cagle, she accused that guard of beating her and forcing her into sex with him. Now, I read this on another site. This woman, if this is what really happened to her, that is horrible. Yeah, she needs to be in prison, but in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure lots of you will agree with me, that nobody deserves, I don't care what you've done, you do not have the right to take sex from someone. The hard R word. So if she is being honest, that is what happened to her. And that guard needed to be himself in prison. And yes, he did. Let me find that information for you guys, because I remember seeing where he went on trial and he did go to jail. So let me read this to you guys about the guard. A South Carolina prison guard will be fired after admitting he had sex at least 4 times in 1 year, that year, with Susan Smith, who is serving a life sentence for the drowning deaths of her 2 young sons in 1994, prison officials said Thursday. Houston Cagle, a 13-year veteran of South Carolina Department of Corrections, was suspended without pay after admitting he had sex with Smith at the Women's Correctional Institution in May and June, department spokesman John Berkeley said. And that was in 2000, you guys. This is a situation we take extremely seriously, Berkeley said. He said the sexual encounters occurred at 4 different locations on the prison grounds. Cagle had worked at the women's prison since 1996. It's a violation both of our agency policy and state law. It's a felony for an employee of the Department of Corrections to have sexual relations with an inmate, he said. The crime is a felony punishable. I'm sorry, you guys, by a 10-year prison sentence. My tongue feels tied because I'm drinking some super strong coffee. I don't know if that's it, but I think that's what's causing it. Berkeley said an investigator discovered the relationship while looking into tabloid allegations that Smith had been beaten. He said there was no indication that Smith was beaten or that she had any relationships with other male officers at the prison. But you guys, it came out later that she did have a sexual relationship with a married officer by the last name Rowe. David Thomas, chairman of the South Carolina Senate's Corrections and Penology Committee, said this puts South Carolina in a very bad light nationwide. He said his committee planned a special hearing next month to investigate sexual encounters and other misconduct between inmates and officers. It may be that what we're seeing is only the tip of the iceberg. And yes, you guys, I'm pretty sure it was only the tip of the iceberg because that happens on a regular basis. Some of those relationships are consensual and some of them are by force. And it is a very big problem in prisons. And, you know, I think that no one, I don't care if you're inmates and you're consensual, you're consenting to a relationship with another inmate. Nope, you're in prison. And anybody doing that stuff there should get added time. The guards should be in trouble for allowing those things to happen. But of course, if some of them are bad apples and participating, then what's going to be done? It's just a crazy situation, and it's so scary. And I feel for those who are serving their time and trying to be peaceful and get the hell out of there, and then they're taken advantage of. But in my opinion, I don't know, was she taken advantage of? They said there was no evidence of her being beaten, and then she turns around and has another relationship with a married guard. And so who knows? Both of them were wrong because they were in a place of authority over her. So anyway, Smith was sentenced to life after strapping her 2 young sons, we know, and she let them go into a South Carolina lake. She could be eligible for parole in 2024. Prosecutors said Smith, who was estranged from her husband, killed her children after her extramarital lover didn't want to marry her when the divorce became final. Wow. And then they just go on to reiterate that she claimed that a black man had taken her child. And Linda Russell, I guess that's the name of her mother, said her daughter had been placed on suicide watch several times while in prison and has developed an eating disorder because of her mental illness. Well, you guys, you can go look up some more things about Susan Smith. There are reports that she was horrendously abused as a child in every form and fashion that you can imagine. And people are saying that is why she was the type of person that could do that to her own children. Well, like I said in my first video, if you were put through things like this, in my mind, it would make me protect my children, be overprotective, and never want anything bad to happen to them, living through what, she says or others said that she had gone through. So I don't buy that shit for a moment, that is what caused her to be able to do something like that. I don't buy it. Because you guys, like I've said before, I don't have children. I have my dog. And I love my little dog so much that most people say he is super spoiled. And I don't even spank my dog. And I'm not saying that parents shouldn't spank their kids. That's up to that person. But spanking and abusing are two different things. And this woman, it doesn't matter what she went through in her life before those children. Once she gave birth, they were supposed to come before everything else in her life. But she put her pleasure and her wants so far ahead of her children that she took their lives. And that is, as a human being, that is something that is just unforgivable. Children should be protected, especially by their mothers. Anyway, let me get off of this. You guys, let me know what you think in the comments. And I'll go in the comments and we'll have a conversation. Okay. Thanks.